Happy New Year, everyone. Happy Epiphany, too. Hey, Epiphany is such a special day. And by the way, I really appreciate music ministry worked in that the national anthem for Epiphany there. You know, We Three Kings of Orient are. That's outstanding. Thank you. You know, the Christmas season is just brimming over with days that are filled with God's unfolding love for us, God's mysteries that are just made known to us. And there are days during this season that are waiting to be opened like a gift. You know, Epiphany celebrates so many things. But really, for most people, it's that journey of the Magi coming from the east, and they find the Christ child. You know, and this is such a totally amazing part of the incarnation story. It's a little place in salvation history that's very special for us because it just seems so unexpected. I mean, let's think about the Magi for a second. Well, they come from the east. But are they from Persia or Jordan? Well, we don't know. Who are they anyway? You know, the different gospel accounts suggest kings, astrologers, scholars, magicians. You know, just who are they anyway? But everyone can agree theirs was a bold and kind of courageous journey. They came from afar. And they might have people who are close to them, back home, wherever home was, who think perhaps their journey might have been just a little foolish or a little reckless or worse. I mean, let's be fair. They came because they were aware of the Hebrew scripture, which at that point was not written, but was passed orally about the coming of a Messiah. You're going where? To meet a newborn king? You're not sure of the place. You might be sure. It's centuries old prophecy, but you got to go right now? Okay, go ahead. People probably wondered about them. And let's be fair. There was danger involved. There was difficulty. And maybe more than a few places where doubt could creep in. Their trip was by no means easy. But they were rewarded. They found the Christ in the manger in Bethlehem. Now, I once heard someone suggest that the star that guided them to Bethlehem, you know, functions much like the modern day kind of navigation system you have, say, in your cell phone or in the dashboard of your car. And I'm thinking, you know, I don't think it was like that at all. I mean, there were times when the Magi are traveling to them in unfamiliar, uncharted territory, amidst people whose languages they don't know, interacting with folks in a culture that's totally foreign to them. They're traveling day, they're traveling night. There's cloudy days when the night sky is just obscured, the star is not there. They're flying blind, so to speak, some days. They have to stop and ask people what's going on, ask directions. They had to trust who they had to trust. And when they got to King Herod's court, they got more than directions. They got an invitation from the king himself to return to him with the good news. Now, of course, we came to know that the king had different ideas about what he was going to do with that good news, but that's another story for a different day in the Christmas season. Epiphany comes around to us now. Here we are 2,000 years later, and we can reflect on the journeys we make too. We begin journeys that last a lifetime. And the journey that we have, say, maybe has us starting out with one family. And through the experience of, say, life or marriage or connections and affiliation, we end up with another family later in life. Maybe we end up relocating because of work or education or something that's gone on. Maybe we relocate several times. Maybe we'd like to travel a lot. Maybe we live and spend our whole lives within 10 miles of where we were born. We have very different journeys, don't we? You could be attracted in your journey to something that's bright, like a vision or an ideal or a hope. And maybe that bright star, that bright light is in your sky forever. But sometimes it can grow dim. There are cloudy days and cloudy nights when that bright vision just isn't there to guide you anymore. And you encounter difficulties along the way too. Difficulties that might bring about doubts. And when people experience doubts, sometimes they think they're losing their way or they're losing their faith. Folks, don't worry about those kinds of losses. Instead, think about the Magi. Imitate the Magi. You should not be too proud to stop and ask for advice, inquire, seek directions, listen to what's being said and let it shape your life and shape the direction your life is taking. Darkness will pass. Hey, yes, folks, darkness will pass one day, and you'll see that light of the original star. And you keep following on your faith journey. You will continue past the difficulties and the dangers and the hardships. And just as the Magi persisted and they found the Christ, they stopped, they got on their knees, and they offered him gifts of gold and frankincense and myrrh. They broke open those chests and those treasures they had and gave it to him. When you find the Christ, you offer him your love, and the Christ will help you open your gifts. The treasure that is God's gift in you, God's gift, God's grace, the presence of God, the presence of the Spirit. All those things are there. And all those gifts are inside you so that one day you can offer your gifts to your sisters and brothers, indeed, to the whole world. You offer your gifts to God and to neighbor, particularly your neighbor who is poor or a refugee, someone who's misunderstood, someone who's a newcomer. We have gifts to share for everyone, don't we? I guess that kind of brings up the question, have you had your epiphany yet? The Magi offer their homage and praise. They lay down their gifts, but they go home by way of a different route. The gospel made reference to their having had a dream. Let me suggest that maybe the encounter with Christ changes everything. Now the Magi are open to that direction from the Spirit that calls them to go home by another route. After all, King Herod had a different plan in mind, didn't he? Jesus offers a different plan, a different path than Herod does. New routes, new directions give us a new outlook on things. Jesus guides us. The lives of the Magi were changed by their encounter with Jesus. And when you encounter Jesus in your life is changed too. You will take a different path. You will encounter a different outlook. You will have different priorities and goals. Christ changes your life. Keep your heart open and free for your epiphany. It's coming. We're beginning a new year now. You and I, all of us, we have our epiphany hearts and souls and all of our senses that are opened by Christ and touched by the Christ. Keep that bright star of the light of Christ always in view as much as you can. It's one more gift of God's unfolding love and mystery to open this Christmas season. Hey, let this be the gift you use every day.